Om Sai Ram. Chapter 27. Favor shown by giving Bhagavad and Vishnu Sahasranamam, Dikshit Vitthal Vision, Gita Rahasya, Kapardis. This chapter describes how Sai Baba favored his devotees by granting them religious books after he had touched and consecrated them for Parayana, that is, reading regularly, and certain other matters. Preliminary. When a man takes refuge at the feet of the Sadguru, he gets the merit of bowing to the Trinity, the Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, and also Parabrahma. Victory be unto Sri Sai, the wish fulfilling tree and the ocean of knowledge, who gives us self realization. O Sai, create in us reverence for your stories. Let the readers and audience devour them from the same relish with which the Chatak bird drinks the water from the clouds and becomes happy. While listening to your stories, let them and their families get all the true pious emotion, let their bodies perspire, let their eyes be full of tears, let their breath be steady, let their minds be composed, let their hair stand on the end, let them cry, sob, cure, let their hostilities vanish. When these things happen, that is a sign of grace of the Guru dawning upon them. When those emotions grow in you, the Guru is most pleased and will certainly lead you on the path of self realization. The best way, therefore, to get free from the shackles of Maya is a complete and wholehearted surrender to Baba. The Vedas cannot make you cross the ocean of Maya. It is only the Sadguru who can do so and make you see the God in all creatures. Granting consecrated books. The various methods of imparting instructions followed by Baba have already been noticed in the previous chapters. In this chapter, we shall deal with one aspect of it. It was a habit of some devotees to take to Baba some religious books of which they wanted to make some special study and to receive the same back from him after they have been touched and consecrated by Baba. While reading such books daily, they felt that Baba was with them. Once, Kaka Mahajani came to Shirdi with a copy of Eknathi Bhagwat. Shama took this book to read in the masjid. Then Baba took it from him, touched it and turning some pages here and there gave it back to Shama and asked him to keep it with him. When Shama said that this book belonged to Kaka and had to be returned to him, No, replied Baba. As I have given it to you, you better keep it. It will be of use to you. In this way, many books were entrusted to Shama. Kaka Mahajani after a few days came again with another copy of the same Bhagavad and gave it in Baba's hand. Then Baba gave it back as prasadam and asked him to preserve it well and assured him that it will stand in good stead. Kaka accepted it with reverence. Shama and the Vishnu Sahasranamam. Shama was a very intimate devotee of Baba and Baba wanted to favor him in a particular way by giving him a copy of the Vishnu Sahasranama as prasadam. This was done in the following way. Once a Ramdasi, who is a follower of Saint Ramdas, came to Shirdi and stayed there for some time. The routine he followed daily was as follows. He got up early in the morning, washed his face, bathed, and then after wearing saffron color clothes and besmearing himself with sacred ashes, read Vishnu Sahasranama, a book giving 1,000 names in the praise of Vishnu, and held second in importance to Bhagavad Gita and Adhyatma Ramayana with faith. He read these books very often. After some days, Baba thought of favoring and initiating Shama with Vishnu Sahasranama. He therefore called a Ramdasi to him and said to him that he was suffering from intense stomach pain and unless he took some Sena pots, a sonmukhi, a mild purgative drug, the pain would not stop. So he should please go to the bazaar and bring the drug. The Ramdasi closed his reading and went to the bazaar. Then Baba came from his seat to the Ramdasi's place of reading and took out a copy of Vishnu Sahasranama and after coming back to his seat said to Shama, Shama, this book is very valuable and efficacious. So I present it to you. You read it. Once I suffered intensely and my heart began to palpitate and my life was in danger. At that critical moment, I hugged this book to my heart and then Shama, what a relief it gave to me. I thought that Allah Himself came down and saved me. So I give this to you. Read it slowly, little by little. Read daily one name at least, and this will stand in good for you. Shama replied that he did not want it and that the owner of this was the Ramdasi was a bad-tempered obstinate and irritable fellow, would certainly pick up a quarrel with him. Besides, being a rustic himself, he could not read distinctly the Sanskrit script of the book. Shyama thought that Baba wanted to set him up against Ramdasi, but he had no idea what Baba felt for him. Baba must have thought to tie the necklace of Vishnu Sahasranama around his neck, as he was an intimate devotee, though a rustic, and thus save him from the miseries of this worldly existence. The efficacy of the God's name is well known. It saves us from all sins and bad tendencies, frees us from the circle of birth and death. There is no easier sadhana than this. It is the best purifier of our heart and mind. It requires no paraphernalia or restrictions. It is so easy and effective. This sadhana Baba wanted Shyama to practice, though he did not crave for it. So Baba forced this on him. It is also reported that long ago, Eknath Maharaj similarly forced the Vishnu Sahasranama on a poor Brahmin neighbor and thus saved him. The reading and the study of the Vishnu Sahasranama is a broad, open way of purifying the mind, and hence Baba thrust it on his devotee Shyama. The Ramdasi returned soon with the same pods. Anna Chanikar, who was then present, wanted to play the part of Narada, the celestial rishi who was well known to setting up confrontation between gods and demons and vice versa. Anna Chanikar informed him of what was happened. Then Ramdasi at once flared up. He came down at once as Shyama with a full fury. He said that it was Shyama who set it up Baba to send him away under the pretext of stomachache for bringing the medicine, and thus took away his book. He began to scold and abuse Shyama and remarked that if the book was not written, he would dash his head. Shyama calmly remonstrated with him, but he would not listen. He was not ready to listen. Baba then spoke kindly to him as follows: "Oh Ramdasi, what is the matter with you? Why are you so turbulent? Is not Shyama our boy? Why do you scold him unnecessarily? How is it that you are so quarrelsome? Can you not speak soft and tender words? You read these sacred books daily and still your mind is agitated, your passions uncontrolled. What sort of a Ramdasi are you? You ought to be indifferent to all things. Is it not strange that you should possess this book so strongly? A true Ramdasi should not have any mamata, attachment, but have samata, equality towards all. You are not quarreling with Shyama for a mere book. Go take your seat. Books can be had in plenty, with money, but not men. Think well and be considerate. What worth is your book? Shyama has no concern with it. I took it myself and gave it to him. You know it by heart. I thought Shyama might read it and benefit thereby, so I gave it to him." How sweet were these words of Baba, soft, tender, and nectar-like. Their effect was wonderful. The Ramdasi calmed down and said to Shyama that he would take Pancharatni Gita and return. Shyama was much pleased and said, "Why one? I shall give you 10 copies in return." So the matter was ultimately settled. The question for consideration is, why should the Ramdasi press for the Pancharatni Gita, a book for which he never cared to know? And why should he, who daily read religious books in masjid in front of Baba, quarrel with Shyama before him? We do not know how to apportion the blame and to whom to blame. We only say that this incident not happened, the importance of the subject, the efficacy of the God's name, and the significance of Vishnu Sahasranama would not have been brought home to Shyama. So we see that Baba's method of teaching and initiating was unique. In this case, Shyama did gradually study the book and mastered its content to such an extent that he was able to explain it to Professor G.J. Narke, M.A., College of Engineering, Pune, the son-in-law of Shriman Bhuti and devotees of Baba. Vitthal Vision. One day when Kaka Sahib Dikshit was in meditation after his morning bath in his Vada at Shirdi, he saw a version of Vitthal. When he went to see Baba afterwards, Baba asked him, "Did Vitthal Patil come? Did you not see him? He is a very elusive person. Hold him fast, otherwise he will just slip away and run away." Then at noon, a certain hawker came with 20-25 pictures of Vitthal of Pandharpur for sale. Mr. Dikshit was surprised to see the form of Vitthal he saw in his meditation exactly tallied with that in the picture. And so he was reminded of Baba's words. He therefore bought one pitcher most willingly and kept it in his shrine for worship. Gita Rahasya. Baba always loved those who studied Brahma Vidya, metaphysics, and encouraged them. To give an instance, once Babu Sahib Jog received a post parcel. It contained a copy of Gita Rahasya by Lokmanya Tilak. Taking it under his armpit, he came to the masjid and prostrated before Baba. And when the parcel fell at Baba's feet, Baba inquired, "What is this?" It was opened and then there was the book that was placed in Baba's hand. He turned some pages here and there for a few minutes, took out 1 rupee from his pocket, placed it on the book and handed the same with 1 rupee to Jog and said to him, "Read this completely and you will be benefited." Mr. and Mrs. Kaparde. Let us close this chapter with a description of the Kapardes. Once Dada Sahib Kaparde came with his family and lived in Shirdi for some months. The diary of his stay has been published in the English version of the Sai Leela magazine, Volume 1. Dada Sahib was not an ordinary man. He was an affluent and most famous advocate of Amravati and was a member of the Council of States of Delhi. He was intelligent and very good speaker. Still, he dared not open his mouth before Baba. Most devotees spoke and argued with Baba off and on, but only 3, Kaparde, Nulkar and Bhuti, always kept silent. They were meek, modest, humble and good-natured. Dada Sahib, who had been able to expound Panchadakshi, a well-known Sanskrit of Advaita philosophy by famous Vidyaranya, to others, uttered no word when it came to masjid before Baba. A man, however learned he may be, of Vedas, fades away before the one who has realized the Brahman, becomes one with it. Learning cannot stand before self-realization. Dada Sahib stayed for 4 months, but Mrs. Kaparde stayed for 7. Both were highly pleased with their Shirdi stay. Mrs. Kaparde was faithful and devout and loved Baba deeply. Every noon, she brought Naivedya herself to the masjid, and after it was accepted by Baba, she should return and take her meals. On seeing her steady and firm devotion, Baba wanted to exhibit it to others. One noon, she bought a dish containing sansa, wheat pudding, puris, rice, soup and kheer, and other sundry articles to the masjid. Baba, who usually waited for hours, got up at once, went to his seat, and removing all the cover from the dish, began to partake of the things zealously. Shama then asked him, "Why this partiality? At times you throw away dishes, do not care to take them, but this appeals to you earnestly. Why is a dish bought by this lady so sweet? It intrigues me." Baba then explained, "This food is really extraordinary. In former birth, this lady was a merchant's fat cow, yielding much milk. And then she disappeared and took birth in the gardener's family, and then the Kshatriya's family and married a merchant. And then she was born in the Brahmin family. I saw her after a very long time. Let me take some sweet morsels of love from a dish." After saying this, Baba did full justice to a dish, washed his mouth and hands and bleached out as if he is fully satisfied, and resumed his seat. Then she bowed down and began to shampoo Baba's leg, and he began to talk to her and held her arms, which was shampooing his legs. On doing this reciprocal service, Shama began to joke and said, "It is going on very well. It's a wonderful sight to see the God and his bhaktas serving each other." After being pleased with her sincere service, Baba asked her in low, fascinating tone to chant Raja Rama, and then, as always, said, "If you do this, your life's object will be achieved. Your mind will attain peace and you will be immensely benefited." To persons unfamiliar with spiritual matter, this might appear like a polite gesture, but really it was not so. It is a case of the technically called Shakti part, that is transference of power from the Guru to the disciple. How effective were Baba's words! In an instant it pierced her heart and remained it. This case illustrates the nature of the relations that should subsist between the Guru and the disciple. Both should love and serve each other as one. There is no distinction nor any difference between them. Both are one, and one cannot live without the other. The disciple placing his head on the Baba's feet in a gross outward vision, really and internally they both are one and the same. Those who see any difference between them are yet unripe and not perfect. Both to Sri Sai, peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.